How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We are looking at Bitcoin here today because this might make you understand Bitcoin. This, I think, will probably be one of the best segments of anything on Bitcoin you've ever listened to, and might help you wrap your head around why Bitcoin is so valuable. And we're also going to look at when Michael Saylor plans to sell Bitcoin and why he's doing what he's doing. This is going to be really big, and I know some of you might have seen part of these clips before, but everything is changing right now, and I think this is going to be really valuable. Like, after I rewatch these clips, I got goosebumps a little bit. So if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate that. Also, definitely check out BlockFi underneath the video, where you can get an interest rate on your cryptocurrency, and you can get the BlockFi rewards credit card that pays you Bitcoin on your purchases. So let's take a look at what Michael Saylor says here about Bitcoin.
The most important thing to understand about Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace for people that don't have the ability to run their own hedge fund. It's not a stock, it's an asset class. And so, if I put $1 billion into a bank and then came back a year later and I put another $10 billion in the bank is not overvalued by a factor of 10. The bank is just 10 times bigger. People are using Bitcoin to store their monetary energy for the long term. And so the price is a reflection of the monetary energy in this bank in cyberspace.
When you hear that, if you wrap your head around that, so Bitcoin is just a bank. You can put your money there and it holds value for you. Hopefully it increases, but basically you're putting it in there thinking more people will use it in the future. It's like putting money into a bank, right? Just like he says, if you put in $1 billion and everyone else puts in $100 billion after you put in $1 billion, the bank is much bigger. But in this case, you would actually have a lot more money. You would have the same amount of Bitcoin, but it would be valued a lot higher because so many people are trying to get it. So unlike a stock where it's going to become more productive over time and hopefully the companies continue to grow, this is just betting on the fact that more people will want Bitcoin in the future as a store of wealth, as a store of value for all different types of purposes. But that is huge once you start breaking that down and really understanding, okay, really, it's just about buying the property. It's just about putting money into it before others do. And maybe that is really all we need to understand. Now, part of the reason that Bitcoin is going to be so valuable, because again, a lot of people think, well, they can just make a new Bitcoin, right? And it will be cheaper, or they can use some other type of cryptocurrency. There's a reason that Bitcoin will win out versus the others. Now, I do want to say I am going to play the clip towards the end, so stay through to that on when to actually sell Bitcoin coming from Michael Saylor. But let's take a look at why Bitcoin specifically is going to be so valuable over time. This comes down to Metcalfe's law, which is that a network's value is proportional to the square of the number of nodes in the network. That might be kind of confusing, but basically as more and more people adopt something, whether it's the internet, whether it is a certain website, it becomes exponentially more valuable. It builds on itself exponentially, which means that as Bitcoin gets more widely adopted, when it gets from 130 million people using it to 260 million people using it, it's not going to become 2 times more valuable. It's going to become exponentially more valuable, which is where it gets really interesting what is happening in cryptocurrency today. Banks are going to give their clients Bitcoin funds, cryptocurrency funds. I mean, it comes out every single day that a new bank is offering it. We have companies like Wholesale Mortgage that are going to allow people to pay their mortgages in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. We have BlackRock and Fidelity and Vanguard buying Bitcoin miners. We have so much adoption. And you can see that it is like the internet back in 1997, where we're at a very similar growth rate to the internet. And you can see that means if we expect that it will continue to go at this quick pace, we should see nearly a 10x in the next 4 years. So a 10x in users does not mean necessarily a 10x in the price. If you use Metcalfe's law and you go squared, that means 100x. As it goes from 1 to 10, you take 10 to the second power and it's 100 times more valuable. Now, this is Bitcoin specifically, but you could extract that to the whole cryptocurrency market. Now, of course, there are going to be winners and losers, which is why we're going to look at Michael Saylor's exit plan to get into other assets from Bitcoin.
How do you see, what is the exit strategy then for Bitcoin for you?
There is no exit strategy.
No, and I mean, do you think that we'll see some sort of a Fed vehicle like the 1031 exchange that would allow you a move out of something like this into something else, a like-in-kind asset? I mean,
see, the point is, why would you exit from the best investment asset in the world if it keeps getting better? Like, there's nothing you can buy that's better. So you're selling the winner to buy the loser. If let me make it simpler. If you owned a company in Venezuela, and the company sold anything, and you got paid in bolivars, mm-hmm. and you decided that, and you knew that the bolivar is going to keep falling at like 20-30% a year, and you roll the clock back 20 years. If you were unwise, you just keep working, and eventually your assets go to zero. And if you were smart, you would convert your cash flows into US dollars and put it in a bank in New York City. Now, when would you exit from the dollars in New York City and trade back into the bolivars in Venezuela?
Right. Unless if that became if that became the leading currency in the world.
Well, what if the United States government said, well, you can do it tax-free? You're still not going to do it.
No, right, exactly.
Right? I mean, and that would be the case for any weakening currency in Argentina. And if you're in Zimbabwe, when are you going to exit your U.S.? If you basically bought, a New York City apartment and companies in New York City, and you're a billionaire in the United States, when are you going to sell all that and reinvest it back in Zimbabwe? You're not ever.
Right. So
because the point is, one of the assets is stronger than the other asset. If Bitcoin is capped at 21 million for the next 1,000 years, it's only going to get more valuable, right? You can make more apartments in New York City. You can print more US dollars. You can create more houses on the beach. You can create more artwork, Give me something which is scarcer than pure monetary energy on the dominant global digital monetary network. There's not ever going to be anything. Like 100 years from now, there won't be anything, right?
Right.
It's not like buying, you could say it's like buying a block of Manhattan 200 years ago, but it's better than that. Because if you bought land in Manhattan 200 years ago, when would you sell it? To buy land in Kansas? Why would you ever, right? You wouldn't ever sell it. But this is better than that, because this is one city in cyberspace where 5 billion people are going to live there. You don't need the second city or the third. Right. Like whereas you can make the argument that, well, you need a Tokyo and a London and a Paris. But in cyberspace, people in Tokyo, London, and Paris and Manhattan are all putting their money in Bitcoin. So this is, it's a global dominant, pure monetary energy network. So you don't need an exit strategy, right? Diversification is selling the winner to buy the losers.
So that kind of gets back to Metcalfe's law. He's saying you don't need to buy anything else because this is going to be scarce. And the fact is, so many people are already going to be using it. He talks about 5 billion people. The value is going to go up over time. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for hitting the like button and checking out the link down below to BlockFi to get that interest rate on your cryptocurrency and maybe start investing in cryptocurrency. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.